Praise God. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Pastor, to come and share this. I will say, little but useful insight that can help to transform us permanently. The opportunity or the information that I will share today may not necessarily to apply to everyone. Some people may not be inclined into it. And as I talk, some other people may be like, I would love to do this, but it's not something that I think I can handle. But as the talk goes on, you may discover that your mindset will be changed. And in the next year or so, you will be on a new path, a new journey that will define a new tone in your life from the results of what you gained today. So the slides will be shown on the screen, and I will have it also on my phone and be scanning through my phone as we go through. But I will ask media to help me as we progress through. Just follow me as I tell you to go to the next slide. Please help me to skip. All right, you can start sharing. Yep, thank you very much. Just one quick recommendation. Can you share the slides via the Pro Presenter? Yes, so that I don't block the content. Yes, perfect. Thank you. So just maintain that as we go through the slides. I believe everyone can see the information clearly as it's appearing. All right. Thank you. Okay, so today's development training will be focused on transitioning to a career in IT. So from wherever you are, from whatever you are doing, if you have some interests or some hints in moving from where you currently are and exploring an opportunity in the area of IT, IT by IT we mean information technology. Some people call it tech. That's things that have to do with technology and computers. And this training is focused on someone who is a novice, a beginner, and wanting to transition from, I'll call it from the point of beginner to employable. So from zero, from knowing nothing, from being afraid of the keyboard, to the point where you are seeing yourself contributing to things that a company will see as valuable and choose to employ you. So let's go to the next slide. A quick overview of what we'll go through today. We'll look at IT career paths. I've mentioned a few here, which from my little investigation, I believe are opportunities that we can seize that are good for someone, a beginner trying to go into the world of IT. Then some pointers on choosing the right path, because there are a few of them, you may not know too much about it. With the little information I'll give you, may learn a bit more, but there will also be some guide on helping you to be able to choose what is best for your scenario, what is best for your case in terms of your journey. Then I'll do a quick overview of tailoring your CV. This will be beneficial both for those in IT and those who are not. It's going to be something that will just give you a quick hint on how to make sure that you always get called for interviews. So you shouldn't be afraid of applying for an IT role. You can secure interviews. That's one step. Always sure that you are securing the interviews through whatever you push forward. And then the next step is where you need to build yourself, which is gaining the skills that are necessary for you to be able to land that role when you get to the interview. And then we'll look at artificial intelligence. There's a kind of trend or understanding that in a few years, AI, artificial intelligence, will take up most of our roles, especially for those in the IT industry. And we'll see if there's truth to that and what we can do, especially for someone who is just trying to jump into that career path. And then finally, we end with a few hints and tips that will be very useful to us. Let's move to the next slide. So this next slide is just to set the tone of what this career development session is about. Pastor has given us a bit of introduction at the beginning, and I'll just add to that. So, Water Springs Christian Center is committed to building the community, to transforming lives in the community. And one aspect that has been of key focus this year is the recognition that many people face barriers in the industry as a whole, not just in IT. We transitioned to this country and we face so many barriers which restrict us from exploring the opportunities of changing our careers. And some of us are working in career paths which was not what we trained in. We are coming from a different country and we have certain skills which seem not to be recognized. So that understanding has informed this community development program that has initiated a series of career development sessions which we've had over the months and has led to this point. The ultimate mission of that is to remove the barriers hindering us from taking these leaps by providing the necessary skills and the confidence that you need to push into those roles. There are many people, when they come with drive and push and begin to apply for everything that they think they can align with in terms of their prior experience and the area that they have as comfort zone in their lives. But somehow they don't even get responses. They can't seem to break through. So the focus of this whole process is to uplift you out of that box and put you in a place where you would always break through. And then it's now left for you. Your challenge is no longer the barrier. Your challenge is now yourself. You now have to develop a mindset of taking root, deep down roots, into the foundation of what you need to know in order to bear fruit upward. If you don't have that root, you will not have anything to offer. And everything we say here, you will see some changes in your ability to secure interviews, but that will not translate to job because you don't have the substance, you don't have the capacity. So we are going to shift that blocker from barriers to now something that you have full control over, which is yourself. And we will also provide you some guidance on how you can jump and overcome that. Next slide, please. In today's session, the objectives that we will cover is giving you an understanding of the basic skills that you require to enter various IT career paths. And then give you a hint on how to prepare and tailor your CV for IT roles. We'll give some examples along with that. And give some useful and practical resources, some parts that will point you to useful and practical resources that will help you push yourself from where you are to where you need to be to lead to a clear transformation in your position. Next slide, please. IT career paths. Next slide. So in this, I have listed on this slide a series of IT roles, and I've categorized them here based on the timeline to entry, to become employable. So from beginner to employable. There are some that are short timeline and there are some that are much more lengthy timeline. A summary of them, we are going to focus on the ones that have a short timeline to entry because of the approach which we are going with here. We want to quickly get in and then use our leg inside IT to begin to pursue other perspectives of IT. So the goal is transition from one career path to another, from X career path to the career path in IT. The roles are data analytics career path, data administrator, database administrator, cloud computing career path, front-end developer, and software testing. Again, do not be, if you are interested in any of these, do not be afraid of the names and the seemingly bogus titles and definitions. You just think, oh, it means programming and so on. Not necessarily. However, you will definitely get some level of requirements to gain some logical reasoning, of being able to impute things and think logically. The programming aspect is not the main detail. It's how you are able to think logically and then translate that into a product, which would involve you using some tools, some of which may be programming. Next slide, please. So my goal here, we can use the screen because I'll be blocking this one. My goal here is to give you a quick overview of each of the career paths, and I'll focus on 4 areas here. Overview of what the career does, which is the first box, which we have here. Who the career is for, the last box at the bottom there. An idea of what the salary will be for an entry level, which is the box, I'll say in the second column, second row, gives us that information. And then the second column, last row, we'll see the timeline from beginner to employable. So I would go through each and every one of them quickly and give us some level of insight. So in the process of my talk, you have an idea, okay, I think I understand what this kind of job entails. So the data analytics career, basically what you are doing here is transforming data into insights. So you have a large set of data that is collected every day in everything we do. What a data analytics person does is, depending on the sector or company they are working in, the company will have some data that they want to translate to useful information so that they can use it to make decisions. So a data analytics person will process that data and make it understandable through graphs, plots, numbers. We might have data of number of people that are attending hospital, NHS, on a monthly basis. And NHS would have a data analytics expert who will help them translate that information into how many appointments have been missed, how many people attended those sessions who are from foreign countries, how many people attended the sessions that are UK citizens, and so many other information. That's how they get to know that the epidemic of obesity is getting bad or is reducing based on those statistics. And it's not a doctor or a nurse that will go and sit to generate that. It's a data analytics expert. So that is the role. The person can function in any industry that handles data and use that data, process it in a certain way with certain tools to get information and insight. Now, typically, who are the people that will enjoy or be inclined to do this kind of role? Again, you may not enjoy it, but if that is your personality, it may be advisable to align yourself with such a career path. So it's for people who are analytical thinkers and who enjoy patterns and storytelling. If you like to tell stories a lot, you like to talk and gist a lot and say, this is what happened, that is basically what you'll be doing here. You are passing the information to people who can't start looking at millions of lines of data, different names, different ages, and so on and so forth. Your job is to process that thing and make it meaningful for them so that they can ask you, okay, based on what we had this year, what's it compared to last year? What's the difference? What has changed? What is evolving? And so on and so forth. And then for an entry-level person, which is our focus today, the entry-level salary is between £25,000 and £35,000. After 2 years, that scales up significantly. 5 years plus experience, you have significant increase as well. And the timeline to become a data analyst is 3 to 6 months. It's not unachievable. However, you have to focus on consistent study and build portfolios. One of the most important things in an IT career path is evidence. Your portfolio means showing them examples of things you can do. So your portfolio is one of the most important evidences that shows you know how to do the activity. Because anybody can learn to talk, but if you have evidence to show, it gives you a massive edge. Let's move to the next slide. So this slide here, I just put this here so that we'll see an example of what a data analyst will produce. This one is a data analyst that has developed this dashboard for human resources. So there was a large set of data which the person processed and decided to represent this way. Don't worry, this will not come from your head. You will learn to do it, and you will also have guidelines on what is required. They probably have requested, we want a plot that shows us summary of this. We don't know how we want this data here, but we need this information. So you will have a guide on what to do, and you would have already gained the skill on how to do it. So this is the kind of thing that you will be producing as a product, as a data analyst. All right, let's move to the next slide. Database administrator career path. So a database administrator is someone that manages data. Now, the data that the data analyst will be processing and interpreting is being kept somewhere. Where that data is kept, the person that manages that store, that box, is called a database administrator. The person manages databases and ensures that those databases are secured, they are performing well. So when someone tries to pull data from that block, it doesn't take 2 hours to come. It should be able to come as fast as the person that is trying to access it would need it. With certain clauses anyway. And then the data should always be available. So if I need the data now, immediately after service, I have to pull some data. I should be able to go and get it after service. I shouldn't get there and I'll see our servers are down. And it's only by Wednesday before I can get access to it. It has caused a major disruption to whatever operations I'm trying to do. So that's the work of a database administrator. Now, it's someone who likes stability and reliability. So if you have a mindset where you just like everything to go, once you set it up, nobody should scatter it. It should just keep going consistently, and it should be reliable. So when you come to church, for instance, you want to always make sure that as soon as you switch on the light comes on. You are someone who will thrive in this kind of career path because of the nature of what you will be doing. Typical salary scales range for entry level between 28 and 38,000 pounds. And timeline to entry is 6 to 9 months. So in 6 to 9 months, you can move from knowing nothing to becoming a database administrator and get entry level roles in that area. Let's move to the next slide, please. This is just an example of what a database administrator will be seeing when they are working, what they are working with. They will work with tables, which has a lot of data. And this is typically how they will, this portion of what we have here, this, I'll call it code, is what has created this. And it's not complex. All these things are understandable. We can see customer ID here, we can see customer ID here. So somehow our brain is telling us that from this, something is done here that creates this. It's easily understandable. Let's move to the next slide. Now we are looking at cloud computing career path. A cloud engineer is someone that builds and manages cloud infrastructure. So basically the person handles and manages a lot of computers that people access without necessarily having physical computers. So if I wanted to set up a scenario where everyone here is accessing computers, we would need a lot of physical computers. It will cost us money to maintain those computers, to set them up, and so on and so forth. And that is how the cloud computing career came into play. A set of people thought that rather than getting people to spend money buying the physical hardware, why don't we have a company whereby we have millions of computers and we are selling the capacity of those computers to people. And anybody that wants to use the computer will just go online and access the computer farm, the server farm that we have, and pick a particular machine based on if they want a Windows 10 with RAM of 8 gig and so on. They can go online and access it and use it for what they want to do. Now, the person that manages that infrastructure, that they call it cloud infrastructure. The reason why we call it cloud is because it's not physical. It's something that we see online, and they just decide to call that platform cloud. So the person that manages computers in the cloud is called a cloud computing engineer or a cloud computing expert. Who is it for? That's people that think from a systems perspective and enjoy scalability and automation. What do I mean by that big English there? People that think from a systems perspective. Just imagine a project manager, or let me say a stage manager. A stage manager is someone that sets up stages. That stage manager is thinking from a system perspective. So he's thinking from the perspective of, on this stage, there will be a place that I need to have the ministers come to stand and communicate. There will also be need for choir to minister. There will also be need for the drummer and the keyboardist and the guitarist. So how do I coordinate that? A normal person will just think, we'll just put the drum, just put the keyboard, they'll find place and stand. But someone that thinks from a system perspective will analyze what's the distance between where these people are and the equipment that is at the back that is sending signal to them. How will the person standing see who is playing if they want to communicate? Will the drums be too loud in a particular area, and so on and so forth? So that person is thinking from a systems perspective and considering other factors. And that is why at the end of the day, when the person arranges a stage, there's a difference between that and someone that just came and said, have you brought the drum? Put it there, put it in that corner, just look for somewhere. You will notice a difference, and you will see some massive professionalism which people take for granted, because we just come in and execute what we want to do. We don't consider the details that go into this. So a cloud computing engineer does that kind of thinking. He creates those things from a system perspective. If somebody wants to use this type of computer and do this, how can they access it? How can I make sure this thing is secure? If the person is using one computer and suddenly in the next 10 minutes, the person wants to use 10, how can I make it such that the person can easily expand and scale from one computer to 10 computers without stress? That's the word scalability. And then automation. Does the person have to come back and restart all those 10 computers each time? Or is there a process that we can automate such that the person will have the computers being taken care of even when they are not there, and when they come back, they can continue whatever they are doing? So that's the work of a cloud computing person. Entry-level salary is between 28 and 40,000 pounds a year, and timeline to entry is 6 to 9 months. Let's go to the next slide. Now that systems person, that person that thinks from a perspective of system level, most of those people tend to use drawings. They would sit on a paper and draw what they want to see. So this is how the person operates. The person will first create an identity of what they want to, in infrastructure they want to create for the use case of whosoever needs it, and then begin to implement each of these things through their tools to achieve that for the client. And I'm sure we've heard Amazon Web Services, Azure for Microsoft, we've heard Google Cloud. People that work there, this is basically what they do, and use the tools in those platforms to create and run and manage those computers, those systems. All right, next slide, please. Front-end developer. A front-end developer is someone that creates user interfaces for websites and apps. If we go on WhatsApp, you see WhatsApp interface, the way it looks. It is a front-end developer that created how that place looks. If we go to the church website now, we'll see the church website looks a certain way. Pictures here, buttons here, and so on. It's a front-end developer that designed how the thing should look. Whichever website we go to, whichever app on our phone, we carry, I don't know what other app I can reflect. You carry your bank app, and you see the way your bank apps are arranged. There's someone or a group of people that have sat down to design and say, if we put this button here, it will be easy for someone that is looking for bank statement to click here. And I'm sure we have had some bank apps where it's very annoying to search for bank statements. That was poor user interface design. However, the people that do those designs are front-end developers. Now, who is this career path for? It's for people that are creative builders who enjoy visuals and interactions. So if you like visuals, you like things to look good, like things to look beautiful, that is a career path that you will thrive in very, very well. Typical salaries 25 to 35,000 for entry level, and timeline to employment is 6 to 12 months. Let's move to the next slide. I've put this here just to illustrate what I'm talking about. It is a front-end developer that has chosen how this thing looks. The person is creative as well, so the person is adding some level of designs and beauty as well as functionality to the interface. When a front-end developer finishes their work, it doesn't mean the website is ready. They just created the beauty. There's another career path here that goes to do the things at the back to make the website usable. But the design, somebody has done it and completed it and said, okay, I've done this, take and pay me so that I can move on with my life. All right, next slide. Software testing. Software testing QA. QA means quality assurance. Now, a software tester ensures software works correctly and meets quality standard. So, that website I showed, for instance, a software tester would have gone through it to make sure that after it has been built, the front end has done what he's doing, and then the person that is doing the code behind has done. And they said, this is what we want the website to do. Now, a tester will go and try and break the website. So try and do everything you can do to make something fail in the website, to ensure that the website will do everything it's supposed to do and will not do what it is not supposed to do. So it will be in line with exactly what they wanted the website to be. So that's what a software tester does. And with this, there are two levels to it. You can be a manual software tester as the initial part of your entry, and then you can migrate to automation in the software testing space. Now, who is this for? People who are detailed-oriented, analytical, and strong communication. They have good communication skills. So if you are someone who can come in here and the first thing you just see when you come in here is, we could have put these decorations better, I can do this thing better now. Why did they could have raised this thing and make sure that it's at 3% from the roof and another 3% from the roof. You are someone who comes in and immediately you start trying to criticize and find faults. You will thrive in this career because as soon as you see a website that looks great, you're already looking for how can I spoil this thing so that I can tell them that something is wrong. That is the work of a software tester. Typical salary level is 25 to 35,000, and timeline to entry is 3 to 6 months for manual software testing, and 6 to 12 months for automation. So you could start 3 to 6 months, get skilled in the manual testing, and while you get a job and you are working, you could keep going, building yourself to the automation level and build into another level, get into another step, which is the automation, and expand your scope. Next slide, please. Software developer career path. Now, this is the person that would write the script and programming and code behind what the front-end developer has designed. That's what will make, when you go to a website and click a button, clicking the button goes somewhere because of this person. If it is just what the front-end developer did, and they just put it online like that, when you click the button, nothing will happen. It will just be there. But this person has gone to make the button do what they want it to do. So there are people who build websites, build applications, mobile applications, computer desktop applications, build systems, and so on and so forth. For example, number plate recognition system, a software developer where you are driving and cameras are picking up your number plate automatically. It's a software developer that would have written the scripts for that. A front-end developer would design whatever interface they are using to send you ticket. The person will design the interface so that when the whoever is managing the something goes and sees, sometimes it's automated, so it just goes automatically. That is the front end. Back end is doing the code behind, and everything that has to do with processing. The tester is testing when they both, the front end and this guy have finished, the tester will test to make sure everything is working as required. The database administrator, all the registration numbers, traffic offenses and everything, they are going to a database. So the database administrator is managing that and making sure everything is going well on that front. And then some company, maybe government has decided that we don't want to have a building again. We want to push everything to the cloud. It is the cloud engineer that will be managing the computers that is running the software that is taking our number plates when we speed. So those are different roles and different things that result into the systems we see every day moving around. Now, who is this role for? For someone who is logical, is a logical problem solver and enjoys building things. So they'll tell you, someone will just come and say, pastor can just go to a software developer now and say, I want you to do something for me that when people come into the church, as they are entering, it should be counting the number of people that are coming. And I don't want you to count the same person twice. He gives all the conditions he wants. And the person now has to go back and sit down. Okay, this is what pastor wants. This. How do I achieve this? What do I do? Does his checks, does his research, sees how to develop the scripting, the functions, the methods that require to generate that, and produce the result of that. Now, salary scale is between 25 and 35 for entry level, and timeline to employment is 9 to 12 months. All right, let's move to the next slide. So this is just giving us an example of basically every app that you see, every website, everything has a software developer that has put his hand inside. If not, those things won't work as they are. So these are just examples. All the apps we use have been coded by software developers. The code behind has been by software developers. Next slide. Now, we've listed a few career paths here. Choosing the right path. Because I put myself in the shoes of someone that is keen and interested in going into one of these. How does the person make a choice? Yes, we've highlighted some characteristics, but we have also highlighted some other characteristics that have to do with how much annual salary is. We've highlighted things like how long it will take to go from beginner to entry level. Somebody might say, I prefer to pick a role based on how quick it will be for me to enter. As another person might say, I don't care about speed, I want big salary. And someone else might say, I want something that I will enjoy doing. So this bit here is just to help you think effectively and choose a correct path. Now let's move to the next slide. So for this, I have to move back a bit. This was the simplest way I could present this, but we will make use of it. You will have the slides at the end of the session, so you can come back here and look at things in detail. Now, the first 5 are the career paths we have looked at, and the ones below are career paths that take longer to get into. So I've decided to focus on the first 5, but I included the last 4 in case someone is interested in going that route as well. Timeline to entry is listed there for each of the career paths. Now, the entry difficulty, so how difficult is it for a person to get into this career path? The lowest difficulty is software testing. There are reasons for that, but it's very easy to get into IT through software testing. The second best or second lowest is data analytics in terms of difficulty. And then we move on, front-end developer, yes, at par in terms of difficulty with entry level. Database administrator is a bit more difficult, and then cloud computing is a bit more difficult. Now, creativity. If based on criteria of creativity, how creative do you need to be to enter into any of these? For software testing, you do not need to be significantly creative. You are just trying to break something. For data analytics, creativity level is medium, because look at that dashboard I showed. You saw how it was arranged. The individual needs to have, or at least build their capacity to see how, okay, if I place this here and place this here, I've created this plot. Is this the best way to tell the story? Or should I start here and come to this and do this and do that? So creativity level on that is a bit higher than software testing. For front-end developer, that is the main focus of that. You need to be creative. You need to be someone that is very creative. Database administrator, creativity is low, very low. You don't need to be creative at all. Just create a database and manage it. For cloud computing, creativity low to medium, because you need to have some level of creativity to be able to optimize so that whosoever you are designing the cloud infrastructure for will not be spending more money than they need to be spending. Then technical depth. How much deep do you need to go into technical things? For the first three, medium, you don't need to go too deep into technical. But for the last two, database administrator and cloud computing, you need to go deep into technical. Then I've listed the salary and training cost. How much does it cost to get in? The cheapest will be software testing, and the most expensive will be cloud computing. And then I just put some information about the cost drivers, the things that are driving the cost. Now, just a bit of pointer on this. There's a lot of information here that you can use or combine and put in hierarchical form to choose which part you will be interested in going to. But just a bit of advice, that choose the part that matches your curiosity, not what is trending. That's number one. Number two, choose the part that fits your mindset. The skills that you need to do that thing, you can learn it. It can always be learned. But your mind needs to be in alignment with that career path. And then motivation must be owned. You need to motivate yourself. So if you choose something that your mind is not, I've had this talk with a lot of people. In some cases, I've even paid some training experiences for those people, because the zeal and the hunger, when they heard some things, they really had the drive to go in. And they just picked something and went in. And after 2 weeks of training, they say, Baba, this something, they are just saying something I'm not understanding. You need to motivate yourself, because there are times when, especially if you are not inclined to some of those things before, they may look complex and difficult. But with time and consistency, the timeline that is given there is not artificial. This is the real timeline to become any of these things. So if you go into software testing and you see some funny things and you are already pulling yourself back, you should know that other people that are not giving up are achieving that within the same time frame which you have pulled out. So that number 2 point, take it into consideration. Third point, the best part isn't the easiest part or the highest paid. It is the one you can stay committed to when learning gets hard. And finally, every IT part is achievable. Consistency matters more than speed. Let's move to the next slide. So in this slide, what we are doing here now is